This week in Pure Reinvention, our 100th episode.
Woo! Well, 100.
Engage, disrupt, adapt, repeat. You're listening to Pure Reinvention, the podcast for curious people.
100 episodes, 2,217 at least minutes, 3,795 hours of pure reinvention. And boy, what a journey it's been. We've had 28 episodes in Detroit. We've been in Jackson. We've been in Grand Rapids. We have taken the pure reinvention journey to quite a few people and quite a few organizations, and it's been a thrill to be a part of it. And I'm glad to be with you too in this journey. And, I've taken a lot out of this.
Wait a minute, Will. Before you go any further.
What?
I think that we should do a proper introduction to this new voice.
This man
who's
sultry
now,
voice that's now.
Yes.
You
are now listening to Will Carlson. Will has been the mastermind behind our podcast. Mm-hmm. He has been the one who has shepherded us and made us accountable and made this happen. It was Will's vision to be the podcast platform that we have now gotten us to 100 podcasts. Will is the owner of Willpower Consulting, who has, through this journey, also been able to inspire others to incorporate and adopt podcasting into their business strategies. So, Will, based on the 100 podcasts and some of the work that you've done, I think all of us at Pure Reinvention want to make sure we thank you for the great work and to have people recognize that even though you're many times the man behind the mic in terms of the technical part, we know without you, you are the real backbone to making this work.
Well, you're embarrassing me, but...
Good thing it's audio and not visual.
Thank God, yeah. But, it's been a joy. And the people that we've encountered, the Detroit reinvention story, the professional journeys that we have shared and had the privilege of doing it, it's been a huge labor of love that I just cherish every minute of. And I do want to say a little bit, shout out to Misty Miller and Josh Lord, who were really a part of this project from the get-go, and the hours they put into this. None of this would have been possible without that. So, growing with you guys and putting this together from, like the first few episodes, you could tell the difference in how we've learned along the way.
That evolution has been, certainly the evolution of the podcast. And for any of you who are interested, you can link to our first podcast on our website. Take a look at the first one and then compare it to, maybe not this one, maybe compare it to Greg's, number 99.
Yeah.
And just the length of time, the pointedness of the questions, the depth of the conversation, and even just visually, the intros, the outros, it's amazing. In 100 episodes, how quickly that has happened.
And we should have another shout out to Sonia too. Sonia Robbins has been phenomenal. Yes. It's like, keep it short, get it to the point. There's, the editing too. She's a monster and she's been a huge help.
Absolutely.
And, helping us really clean that up.
Thank you, Miss Sonia. Will, the average length of those who initiate a podcast program is how long?
Usually under 5 episodes is typically what a podcast show, the duration of those shows.
So I think the fact that we were able to persevere and we held ourselves accountable to get to 100 podcasts to really build a foundation of a real community is just, to me, phenomenal. I think that in the early days to have thought about, now just think about this for a minute. And I think, well, this is the number you gave us. We are approaching 40 hours of content. If that means we could start listening on Monday morning at 8 a.m., stop every day at 4, if we went straight through, for 5 days in a row.
Yes.
That's a lot of content. That's a lot of individuals sharing their reinvention thought process with us, and in turn, inspiring a whole community of listeners.
One of the coolest parts about the podcast, aside from the guests that you get to meet, just the interesting people and the stories that you get to hear, is when we hear of a listener who was so inspired by a podcast they heard that they contact us to get that individual's name and number and then reach out to that person directly. Or in your case, you just got back this week, Mike. You took a listener down to Detroit to meet with Karen Dupuis because she was so inspiring to this particular listener. I mean, how many opportunities do you get to engage in an effort like this where it's not just, happening in the comfort of your desk or your computer or your car. But when you feel so moved, you can call a real person and say, I want to meet them. And it actually happens.
No, that's exactly right. And so step 4 in the reinvention process, connect, that's a demonstration of how powerful that is when you can start to kind of put these really strong messages out there for people to listen to. And then when they're ready, they're able to reach out and we can assist in that connect stage. And as Greg reminded us in episode 99, there becomes the power where others are starting to initiate energy into this pure reinvention process because they now see where it connects into the value of what their journey is, what their destination is, and how powerful it is for us in the Pure Reinvention team to initially meet these individuals, to connect them with the people who choose to listen to these podcasts, and then, as you said, Jody, be inspired to then create some sort of connection and movement.
Yes.
Because there will be something positive that will happen because of that.
It's the momentum piece. And I also think that this particular medium for us has helped clarify who Pure Reinvention is and what we have to offer the world and in what space we will be most effective in doing that. So this idea of connection, it really is what drives our corporate retreats, for example. This isn't, come to us in a classroom environment and we'll talk at you. It's come with us to a place where we will connect you with actual individuals who have actual stories that relate to the same struggles you're going through so that you can talk to the source and be inspired by the source. Starters is exactly the same way. It's an immersive experience. We invent, same thing. It's a collective group of women experiencing something really amazing together at the same time.
It's this, let us introduce you to, and whether it's a person, whether it's a thought, whether it's an experience, our intention is not to control your mind. Our intention is to share with you what we have discovered. When you're ready to move that into a action stage, there are many forums to do that, right? From an individual to the experiences, Jody, that you just mentioned.
Absolutely.
But the power of having those people going through reinvention themselves, share and teach others curious and ready for reinvention. We are so honored to be a part of connecting those who are doing it with those who are ready.
Mm-hmm.
And the wonderful thing has been that Pure Reinvention is not only a professional journey, it's a personal journey.
Absolutely.
We had the Deb Hart episode. It was very personal. We've had Amy Frankman. We had Jody Parker. On a very personal level, applying those 5 steps to their lives. And so, and having people who are willing to be that open and sharing and vulnerable, it has been a huge boost to the value of this program and something I've gotten a ton out of.
Will, I want to again make sure our listeners really understand how important you have been to the framework of the podcasting that we have done. 100 podcasts later, it's been your labor of love that has kept us on track. Your voice does not get heard a lot because of the work that you're doing. But for every listener out there, make no mistake about it. If you're looking at doing podcasting, make sure you contact Will at Willpower Consulting, and he will lead you through that journey of using this very powerful medium. We are really looking forward to connecting with our listeners in 2017.
Yeah.
We're ready for the next 100 podcasts.
We are. So we'll have a celebration that just happened last week, actually. To celebrate the 100th episode and to bring all 100 of those guests. And some of us have been repeat guests, so probably not exactly 100 of us, but everyone who's been involved over this first part here to bring us all physically together, have a little celebration, and really kind of give us that lift for what's next.
Continue to connect with us. Continue to build the inspiration you need for yourselves and for us by continuing to be part of our community. Thank you very much for being one of our listeners, and stay tuned for the next 100.
And remember, if you're ready for a change, make it a change that lasts. Make it Pure Reinvention.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Pure Reinvention. Keep the conversation going and get alerts when new podcasts are up by following us on Twitter at Pure Reinvention or sign up for our mailing list at PureReinvention.com.